So I think we're officially live. So, if you don't know me, my name is Patrick Schmiedt. I run Wyoming-football.com, and I'm going to try out a live stream tonight just to see how it goes. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be new, it's going to be different, and my hope is that I can answer your questions as they come in. I'm going to be on Facebook at Wyoming Football History. It's facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. You can also get a hold of me on Twitter at Wyoming Football to ask me questions there. I'm also going to be checking my live YouTube chat as much as I can, answering questions there. My hope is that I'll be able to update you with scores as they come in, share those as I see them come in. If you've got scores, please share them with me on Facebook, on Twitter, on the YouTube channel. I am quite interested in that. You will occasionally see me stop to type. I'm also going to be updating Twitter live as we go here. Remember, at Wyoming Football. So please check that out, follow that, and like I say, I'm not quite sure what this is going to be yet, but I'm hoping to have a little bit of fun with it tonight. So just a second here. All right, so the first couple scores of the night coming in, 6 p.m. games are basically getting to halftime right about now. First one up in Montana, Miles City, Montana, leading Powell 14-0. Halftime in Sheridan leading Laramie 21-0. Those are the latest scores I've got on Twitter. Of course, all the 7 p.m. games just kicked off a few minutes ago. The 7 p.m. games that I have: Central at Natrona, East at Rock Springs, Evanston at South, Kelly Walsh at Gillette. I also have a 6-man game that's actually being played as a game and not as a scrimmage, which is kind of interesting. Hewlett went to Matitsi. That game kicked off at 7 p.m. I don't know if I'll be able to get any live updates on that one, but that one's out there as well. Jackson went over the pass. They're playing at Teton, Idaho tonight. That kicked off at 7. Juab, Utah came up to Star Valley. That's kicking off at 7 as well. Lead, South Dakota, playing in Upton against Upton Sundance. That kicked off at 7 as well. Moffat County, Colorado, playing at Rollins tonight. That was also a 7 p.m. kick. Like I said, Powell and Miles City's tonight. Miles City up 14-0 at halftime. Also, Newcastle went across the border. They're playing Custer, South Dakota tonight. That kicked off at 6. I have not seen a score on that game yet. So, I'm going to go look for a score from that game right now. But I haven't heard anything on that one yet. Sorry, spitting that one out. But that one was scheduled to kick off at 6. One of the things that's interesting about if those games are played, I tend to count those in my standings as well. So all of those interstate games, the people that say, well, they count for the other out-of-state teams, but they don't count for Wyoming teams, I think that's a load of bull. I count those because I think if we play the game and there's a score kept and we use all the normal rules of the game, we ought to count the game. So all those interstate games that I listed for you tonight, there's 7 of them. I will count those in the standings as well. There's also several scrimmages and jamborees that are going on tonight. Cokeville and Kemmer are playing in a jamboree. Farson went over to Evanston. They're playing the Evanston JVs tonight. Mountain View and Glenrock in a scrimmage tonight. Grable and Shoshone in a scrimmage. Pine Bluffs, Torrington, and Glenrock all got together in Glenrock. They're having a little jamboree tonight. That kicked off at 5. Pinedale and Big Piney had one this afternoon up in Big Piney. There was an unofficial score of 6-0, Pinedale winning that. Of course, that was a scrimmage that really wasn't played as a game. It was very situational, as I understand it. Riverton and Cody were scheduled for Friday. That's actually going to be played Saturday. Thermop and Lander are also having a scrimmage tonight in Lander, and then the Wind River got together with the Lander JVs. There's a little double dip in Lander tonight. The JVs of Lander played Wind River. The varsity is going to be playing Thermopolis tonight. So that's what's up on scrimmages. And of course, there are a ton of scrimmages tonight. Not tonight. Ton of scrimmages on Saturday. So the Wheatland Jamboree, Douglas and Southeast meeting in Wheatland. That's going to be Saturday. Like I mentioned, Riverton and Cody are going to get together for a scrimmage tomorrow. DuBois, Midwest, and Snake River getting together for a jamboree. That's going to be at Casper Natrona. It was originally scheduled for Midwest, but with all the trouble that Midwest has had with their school and with their with the gas leak that has temporarily closed the school, they're going to be playing that one in Casper. Guernsey Sunrise, Riverside, Tin Sleep, and KC, they're also getting together for a jamboree. That's going to be in KC at noon. Lovell and Buffalo having a little scrimmage in Buffalo tomorrow. Lusk and Burns getting together in Burns. Moorcroft, Wright, and Bighorn, they're all getting together for a jamboree in Bighorn tomorrow morning. Rocky Mountain's going to go over to Powell for a scrimmage with the Powell JVs tomorrow. If I haven't mentioned your team, it means they're not playing this week. And of course, that's pretty typical for 0 week. A lot of teams actually take that week off, and I don't blame them at all. So that's the Saturday schedule. My hope is that when we actually get into week 1, week 2, and so on, when we have a full schedule, we're going to have a much busier Friday night than we're going to have tonight. Tonight's pretty laid back. There's the 5 4A games and then 7 out-of-state games, and then the 1 6-man game. So do the math. That's 13 actual games that are going to be played tonight where there's going to be a score at the end. That's pretty low-key. Normally we've got 30 plus. There's 65 teams and there's 64 teams in the state. There will be 65 next year when Thunder Basin comes on up in Gillette, but right now there's 64, and so that if you do the math, that's about 32 games on a typical Friday night. Right now we're about 13. So a little bit more low-key. Sorry about the break there. I was just catching up, making sure that I had not missed any questions. Of course, if you want to ask me questions in real time, hit me up on Twitter. I am at Wyoming Football, or go to the Facebook page. I am facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. No, I didn't pick that. That got picked for me. Nevertheless, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. I have a link to the live stream there, and if you post any questions there, I will hit you up and get you an answer. This is Teddy. He's already made his first cameo. He was laying next to me, and he decided to wake up, so here he is. All right, we've got a score update from Jackson. Teton is on the board first, according to Clark Forster from the Jackson Hole News and Guide. He just tweeted that Teton scored on a 37-yard run. So it is Teton, Idaho, up on Jackson 7-0 with 2:23 to go in the first quarter. Again, that's Clark there at the Jackson Hole News and Guide tweeting that out. And, of course, Teddy's going to chime in. A score update from Rock Springs East. Rock Springs strikes first. 22-play, 94-yard drive that takes almost the entirety of the first quarter. And Rock Springs leads East 7-0 in the first quarter. Thank you to Keith Kelly at KFBC Radio in Cheyenne. He brought in all the details on that, and Rock Springs up 7-0. I did pick Rock Springs to beat East this week. Went on a little bit of a limb. If you go to wyoming-football.com/blog, you'll see all my picks for the week, and you'll see that I actually went out on that limb, and I picked Rock Springs to beat East this week. We'll see what happens. The stat that had just amazed me was that I found just this week was that since 2011, the Big Four in Class 4A, Sheridan, Gillette, Natrona, and Cheyenne East, they're combined 136-4 against the rest of 4A. So picking against any one of those teams is a dangerous proposition. I did it this week. Picked Rock Springs to beat East. So far, Rock Springs, they haven't given up the ball yet, and they're up 7-0. So that's where we're at. Quick update from Gillette. we've got a touchdown pass from Keaton Wilkerson to Tyler Hilliard. Gillette leads Kelly Walsh 7-0 early in the first quarter, thanks to our folks at YO Varsity, our friends at the Casper Star Tribune, for that update on Twitter. All right, officially end of the first quarter, Cheyenne East is down 7-0 to Rock Springs. All right. Sure, I am pulling up another live stream as we speak. I'm pulling up the pulling up the South Evanston live stream right now. I'm kind of curious to see where they're at. It is in the first quarter. Yeah, that's all I can tell you about that. We've got Jeremiah Jonke at YO Sports, Wyoming Tribune Eagle. He's been tweeting about that game. Apparently it's still 0-0. All right. Our friends at YO Preps tell us Natrona and Central is in a weather delay. They are, of course, 0-0 right now. All right. Excuse me for just a second here. I'm logging into my website so I can update a couple quick things. One of the things that I'm updating on my schedule is the Cody Riverton contest that was originally scheduled for today. It's been moved to tomorrow. I don't know when it got moved. All I know is that it got moved. So Riverton Cody is not going to be today. Riverton Cody is tomorrow. And of course, that's just a scrimmage. Not a huge change, but it is a change nonetheless. So I actually hadn't made that change yet, and I was logging into my website to make that change. So all right. So So, like I said, this is the first time that we've tried a Friday night scores live stream here at wyoming-football.com. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to go. And again, if you have questions, hit me up on Twitter at wyomingfootball. Tag me, and I will answer your questions. Feel free to stop by the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/wyomingfootballhistory. It's a really long name, but effective results. Also, we have a chat feature here on the live stream. If you wanted to hit me up on live chat in YouTube, that would be awesome. I'm going to actually type in there. I've never done that before, and see how it goes. All right, it works. All right, so it looks like South is driving down the field against East. That'll be interesting to follow. Looks like South's poised to punch it in, maybe get the first points of the game up there. Obviously, we will keep you updated, and if South punches it in, we will share that with you. I just tried to load the Rollins, Moffat County, Colorado live feed. Can't do it, so I will have to come back to that one. Haven't heard anything on that one. If you have any updates, please hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the live chat. Hit me up on Facebook. Facebook.com/WyomingFootballHistory. Twitter at WyomingFootball. So, I think it's going to be really, really interesting to watch Rollins this year. Rollins, of course, now is coached by Corey Wheeler. He's in his third year coaching Rollins, and I am really intrigued to see how they do. They really had a breakthrough in 2014, kind of fell off last year, and Yeah, I'm interested to see how Rollins does. I've got high hopes for him. I didn't pick him to go to the playoffs, though. But I do have high hopes for that program. I think Corey Wheeler is a bright guy. Think he's got that team on the right track. We'll see what happens. Cheyenne South on the scoreboard. Dre McCray, a 16-yard run. So Cheyenne South up 7-0 against Evanston, and that game in the first quarter. Gillette and Kelly Walsh has come to the end of the first quarter. Gillette's up 7-0 there. Thanks to those updates, Jeremiah Junkie, Wild Sports, tweeting the Cheyenne South Evanston updates. Grant Egger from the Gillette News Record letting us know that Gillette and Kelly Walsh has ended the first quarter. All right. I am tracking down some live feeds. I want to open the live feed for Star Valley and Juab, Utah. See how that's going. Haven't heard any updates yet. So I'm checking in on that one. All right. So it looks like with about 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter there in Afton, Juab and Star Valley still tied at 0, still scoreless there early in the first quarter. All right, update from Teton, Idaho. Their Driggs Victor area. Teton is now up 13-0 on Jackson late in the first quarter. Teton just scored on a 51-yard run. Thanks again to Clark Forster, Jackson Hole News and Guide for that update on Twitter. It's a very interesting first week. Like I mentioned, there's 5 4A games, 7 out-of-state games for sub-4A teams. Jackson, Star Valley, Upton, Sundance, Lyman, Rollins, Newcastle, and Powell involved in those games. Everyone else, except for Hewlett and Matizzi in 6-man, everyone else is involved in either a scrimmage, a jamboree, or they just decided to take 0 week off. Again, all new here. We're still figuring things out here, wyoming-football.com. This is the first time we've tried the Friday Night Football live stream. Thanks for checking it out with us. Having a lot of fun. It's kind of interesting. This is what I do on a Friday night anyway. I'm just all over the place looking for scores, looking for updates, checking things out. And it's actually pretty fun. So this is what I do anyway on a Friday night. It's just basically me kind of talking through the things that I find as I find them. I'm hopefully searching and finding these things so you don't have to. Also, I'm not retweeting everything I find because I don't want to bombard your Twitter feeds. That would be awful and horrendous, and I don't want to do that to you. So, trying to save your Twitter feeds, and yeah, again, if you're interested and have some questions and want to hear what I have going on, hit me up. Happy to answer any questions that you have. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Jackson. I'm honestly really, really, really scared about Jackson. I think Jackson is an intriguing team. They were an intriguing team, but I also feel like they lost a lot, and we'll see how it goes. Star Valley has scored. Star Valley gets the first points of their season. They're up 6-0 on the Juab Wasps from Utah. 5:28 to go in the first quarter there. Star Valley just kicked the extra point, and it's good. So it's 7-0, Star Valley up. Of course, Star Valley is the defending Class 3A state champions. They were really quite good last year, really impressive in the playoffs especially, and have just a ton of players coming back. They did lose their coach, McKay Young. Their new coach was their offensive coordinator for the past 4 years. I think he's going to pick up right where Chris Howell left off last year. McKay Young, not a stranger to being a head coach. He was a head coach in Malad, Idaho. I believe he was 25-6 in 3 years as a head coach in Malad. Eastern Idaho is a really, really tough place to find success in football, and he found success in football in Eastern Idaho. I think he's going to do really well in Star Valley, and I am curious to see how that goes. So we'll see. But Star Valley off to a quick start there, up 7-0 on Juab, Utah. Early in the game there. So it turns out that it was Kellen Hansen scoring on a 74-yard touchdown run for Star Valley to put those first points on the board. Of course, thanks to Dal Erickson there at the Star Valley Independent, He's the one who's also overseeing the live stream of the Star Valley game tonight. So if you're curious about that, by all means, check that out. You can have 2 live streams going at once. Check them out. Come back, check me out. I've got 4 live streams going right now. Hopefully that doesn't bog you down too much if I start getting choppy or something like that. Hit me up, let me know. I want to know if my streaming of live streams is screwing you up on your end. If it is, I will cool it on the live streams. So, they say the reason I've got my headphones right here, the reason they're right here is because I've got 4 people talking in my ear all at once. And so we're going to avoid that. All right, so my friend Rob Denardi, he's my new friend. He doesn't know he's my friend yet. Rob Denardi, he's live tweeting from the Miles City Powell game up in Montana tonight. All he says is Panthers on the board, and with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, it's Miles City 14, Powell 7. So that game kicked off at 6, so it is a little bit later. They are into the third quarter. Most of the 7 o'clock games are just now about ending the first quarter. Most of the games that kicked off at 6 o'clock are getting into the third quarter. There was only one 4A game that kicked off at 6 tonight. That was Laramie Sheridan. That game was at halftime. I believe has just started the third quarter. So, into the first quarter, South leads Evanston 7-0. Of course, Cheyenne South also has a new coach. Dan Gallus came up from Colorado, won more than 100 games as a coach in Colorado, mostly at Smoky Hill. He was also at Grand Junction. He's gotten Cheyenne South off to a great start, up 7-0 on Evanston. So we'll see if Coach Gallus there in Cheyenne can turn Cheyenne South around. Of course, Cheyenne South has been a varsity program for 5 years and has 3 varsity wins. Went winless last year. I had really high hopes for him last year. Didn't turn out as well as I thought it might. So, that's that. Just a little break there for your ears. I've been talking a while. You've probably tired of my voice already. So, if you've got questions, you want to talk about things, hit me up. Wyoming-football.com is the site. It's facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. It's also Twitter @Wyoming Football. So, my focus is a little bit distracted logging into my website, posting something on my blog about this awesome live feed. So, give me a second here as I let those folks know. Like I said, to bring you these live updates, I do have to occasionally look for these updates, and that does mean that occasionally my focus is going to be on finding scores for you. So that's what I'm up to right now. All right. Oh boy. More problems for Jackson. Jackson has fumbled a punt snap, and Teton's got the ball deep in Jackson territory. Of course, Teton up 13-0 in that game. Thanks again to Clark Forster, Jackson Hole News and Guide for those updates. Looking for some details here, but it sounds like Cheyenne East has tied it up against Rock Springs. Cheyenne East answered with a long drive of their own, and it is 7-7 there in the second quarter. Race Phipps with the score. Thanks to East High Athletics at CHEY East on Twitter, providing us the details there. Wild Preps has provided us a detail. Looks like Newcastle is up big on Custer, South Dakota in the third quarter. Newcastle is up 27-2 on Custer, South Dakota. Custer getting the safety, Newcastle getting everything else. So again, thanks to our friends at Wild Preps for providing that score update on Twitter. Ooh, update from Star Valley. Star Valley's got the ball back and a nice run from the folks there at Star Valley. Of course, Star Valley still up 7-0 on Juab, but they've got the ball in Juab territory, so we'll see what happens there. All right, it looks like I'm trying to get the Rollins and Moffat County, Colorado uh, live stream to load. It's a little slow right now, but we are getting close, I think. So I'll be able to give you an update on the Moffat County, Colorado, and Rollins game tonight. Of course, that's going on in Colorado. I lied. That game, of course, going on in Rollins tonight in Carbon County. The live stream, the live video stream, we are trying to load that. All right. Um, all right. It looks like Evanston has put points on the board for the first time against Cheyenne South. Evanston with about a 35-yard field goal, it looks like. That was not a short kick. So in the second quarter, it's going to be Cheyenne South 7, Evanston 3. Oh, and an update from Sheridan. Sheridan has scored Coy Steele with the score. So Sheridan up 28-0 on Laramie. That in the third quarter. All right, got some clear stats on that Evanston field goal. Jess Richens with the 34-yard field goal. South still up on Evanston though, 10-3 with 10:01 in second, thanks to Jeremiah Jonke for that update from. Of course, he's a good friend at the Wyoming Tribune Eagle, our friends at Wyo Sports. Oh boy, Teton has scored again, and Jackson is really, really struggling. Alex Linsman, of course, formerly was a Jackson player, now playing for Teton. He just scored on his former team. Apparently, shoving it right back in Jackson's face. He scored on a 6-yard run. Teton 20, Jackson 0, and they're barely into the second quarter. Clark Forster from the Jackson Hole News and Guide with that update. Of course, Jackson lost Josh Dawson. He ended up at Star Valley over the over the summer. He ended up transferring to Star Valley, and now he's at Star Valley. And I just heard Dal Erickson talking about that. He's having a really breakthrough game here in Star Valley. If you didn't know who he was, you will know who he is by the end of the season. He had a really, really good season last year as a sophomore with Jackson. Now as a junior with Star Valley, trying to help the Braves repeat as 3A champs. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes together as the former Jackson Bronc now plays for the Star Valley Braves. So, but again, Star Valley really taking it to the Joab Wasps from Utah, coming up on the end of the first quarter in that game, and Star Valley up 7-0 and driving. Of course, if you have any questions or score updates, facebook.com/Wyoming Football History, on Twitter @Wyoming Football, or just hit me up in the chat here with the live stream. All right. Oh, I just heard something in my headphones. Sounds like Star Valley has scored again. 29-yard pass. And Star Valley up 13-0 on Joab, Utah, with about 27 seconds to go there in the first quarter. Extra point upcoming. So, a score update from Gillette. Still 7-0 Gillette. Gillette's up on Kelly Walsh. About 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So Trojans hanging tough against Gillette. Grant Egger from the Gillette News Record says no big plays yet. Gillette up 7-0 on Kelly Walsh. So, again, as you watch this live stream, if there are things that are screwing you up, if you are having feedback issues with the sound, I can't hear the live stream sound, so If you're running into issues with that, let me know. I try to keep my headphones right here. I try to keep them back. I try to keep them out of the way, but sometimes it gets loud. And if that's interfering with this sound, please hit me up. Let me know. I will try to make things sound as good as possible. So, also looking for a score from Lyman and Altamont, Utah. Lyman and Altamont kicked off at 5 p.m. today. So they kicked off in Utah. There's apparently, oh, there's my update. Lyman with a big victory. Lyman has defeated Altamont, Utah 36-8. That is a final score. Lyman 36, Altamont, Utah 8. Thanks to our friends at Utah Prep Scores for that update. So, again, that Lyman Altamont game was a 5 p.m. kickoff there in Utah. Lyman almost always goes to Altamont to kick off their season. I believe Utah has a rule that its teams can't leave the state this early in the season, so Lyman always goes down to Altamont to play. And apparently, Lyman getting its season off on the right foot with the 36-8 victory over Altamont tonight. I guess I should say this afternoon, 5 p.m. kickoff. They were probably not under the lights when they started. Probably were under the lights by the time the game ended, though. All right, score update from Star Valley. End of the first quarter, Star Valley is now up on Juab, Utah, 14-0. Again, 14-0 Star Valley up at the end of the first. So it looks like a couple 3A West teams playing some out-of-state teams. One's doing really well. Star Valley up 14-0. And Jackson not doing so well, down 20-0 to Teton, Utah. And that Teton, Utah game, they're in the second quarter. Also looking for another 3A score out of state. That would be Rollins and Moffat County, Colorado. They're playing tonight in Rollins. No update from that score yet, or no score update from that game yet, I should say. All right. If you are from Jackson and you're watching this live stream, I am so sorry. Another big, long touchdown run for Teton, 58 yards this time, and now Teton is up on Jackson 27-0, and they're only halfway through the second quarter. Not even halfway through the second quarter. 7:49 to go in the second quarter. Teton up 27-0. Ouch. Jackson was the 3A West Conference champs last year, still could be this year, but this season opener not going the way of the Bronx. So Teton up 27-0. Thanks again to Clark Forster from the Jackson Hole News and Guide for that update on Twitter. Another update from Sheridan. Looks like Sheridan has scored again against Laramie. There was a Laramie fumble and a Sheridan touchdown. That's all I know. Looks like Sheridan recovered and then threw a touchdown pass. More updates as I get them, but Sheridan up 35-0 on Laramie. 7:32 to go in the third quarter at that game. So I do see I have a couple people watching this. If you could maybe participate in the chat or hit me up on Twitter at Wyoming Football or go to facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. Hit me up with a question, comment, thought, idea. Let me know how I'm doing. I want to make sure I'm not just talking into the wind here, and if you could let me know how I'm doing, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. Of course, as a reminder, this is 0 week, pretty laid back. We have 5 Class 4A games. Cheyenne Central at Natrona, which apparently is in a lightning delay, last I heard, 0-0. Cheyenne East at Rock Springs, big game early in the 4A schedule. Of course, Rock Springs had their season ended last year by Cheyenne East. East beat them by 1 point in the quarterfinals last year. Rock Springs, though, looking for a breakthrough. Last I heard, that game was still 7-7 in the second quarter. Evanston at Cheyenne South tonight. Cheyenne South up in that game 7-3. Also looks like Cheyenne South might have just scored or is on the doorstep. So Cheyenne South, of course, under new coach Dan Gallis. Could be interesting to see how that game comes out. If South can get that victory, that'd be huge for them. Get that season opener. They could be a dangerous team. I don't know if they're state championship contender, but boy, they could sure ruin some seasons, play some spoilers, and build for the future. That'd be a fun team to watch. Kelly Walsh and Gillette. Last I heard, Gillette was up 7-0 in the second quarter on that one. And of course, Laramie Sheridan rolling Laramie in the third quarter. Last I heard, 35-0. All right, there is an update here from Cheyenne. Cheyenne South now leading Evanston 14-3. I didn't see the play. I'm not sure what happened. I'm sure we'll get an update though shortly. Oh, there it is. Keyshawn Farmer with the 9-yard touchdown run. So 6:05 left in the second quarter. Cheyenne South leading Evanston 14-3. Thanks again, Jeremiah Jonke, one of my oldest and dearest friends, and he is, of course, at the Wyoming Tribune Eagle there in Cheyenne, our friends at Wyo Sports. He is live tweeting that game, and South up 14-3 against Evanston. Boy, like I said, if South could get that one, that would be huge. Our friend David Watson, who's at the Laramie Boomerang, our friends at Wyo Sports. It was Bedecker to Wiley from 10 yards out. That was that Sheridan touchdown. And, of course, Sheridan up 35-0. Sorry, I'm getting a text, and it has nothing to do with Wyoming football. Give me just a second here. I do have a job that actually pays me. This text is about that job. I better get back to them quickly here. Give me about 10 seconds. All right, I think we're back. Thanks for hanging with us. Like I say, I'm trying this out for the first time. So far, I would love to answer your questions, but so far I haven't gotten any questions yet. So, yeah. At Wyoming Football on Twitter, Facebook.com/Wyoming Football History. So far, only one final tonight. That was the Lyman Altamont Utah game, and Lyman with the 36-8 victory over Altamont Utah tonight. So Lyman gets that first victory. Altamont kind of has had the upper hand in that series last year or two. So Lyman gets that victory. And of course, so far in my picks now, I am 0-1. I picked Altamont to win that game. Wyoming-football.com/blog. I do picks every week. I picked Altamont to win that game, and of course, I am stupid. Lyman, big victory, 36-8 tonight. That's the only final we have so far, which is not surprising. Pretty much all the games kicked off at 6 or 7 tonight. The Altamont game kicked off at 5. So, of course, it was the first one done. Makes a lot of sense, right? Still trying to get the live stream to load from the Rollins, Moffat County, Colorado game. So far, I have had zero luck getting that stream to load. When and if it loads, and when and if I see an update, I will let you know. Another update for you. After 3 quarters in Miles City, Montana, Miles City leading Powell 14-7. That's at the end of the 3rd quarter. Miles City leading Powell 14-7. The Wyoming team losing in that one, unfortunately, for us fans of the Cowboy State. Halftime in Gillette. We have a halftime Gillette score. Gillette is leading Kelly Walsh 7-0. So that game pretty close. Gillette, of course, last year's state 4A runners up, Kelly Walsh, and also ran and the Trojans giving the Camels all they can handle early. It is 7-0 Gillette, and that game at halftime. Thanks to a couple sources on that, our friends, of course, at the Casper Star Tribune, WYO Varsity, with that update, and our friends at Camel Sports, Camel Radio, updating that score as well. Halftime there in Gillette, 7-0 Gillette over Kelly Walsh. Of course, Gillette, let's talk about them a little bit more. They are the preseason favorites. 11-0 last year up until the state championship game, and then they lost the state championship game to Sheridan. I know that was a bitter disappointment for Vic Wilkerson and his crew to come so close, and yet when it got to the championship game, end up 7 points short. Sheridan winning that 4A title game last year, 38-31. Very, very tough loss for the Camels. They were the preseason number 1. They were definitely my preseason number 1. They were also the preseason number 1 in the WYO Preps coaches and media poll. I think everyone kind of figured Gillette would be the team to beat. Lots of guys back. Madden Pakula, Lane Tucker. Those guys are studs, and they weren't the only ones back. Gillette had a lot of key guys returning, but so far, week 0, not really showing that dominating streak that they had last year. They're up, but they're only up 7-0 on Kelly Walsh. Another halftime score. Rock Springs is up at halftime, or not up at halftime. They're tied at halftime with Cheyenne East. It is 7-7 there. Rock Springs had a long drive that lasted the entirety of the first quarter. Get those first points on the board. They went up 7-0. East answered to tie it at 7-7, and that is the score at halftime. Cheyenne East 7, Rock Springs 7. And, of course, that game in Rock Springs tonight. That was a tough game for me to pick. I agonized a lot. It was my game of the week this week on Wyoming-football.com. I really think this is going to be Rock Springs' breakthrough year. I don't know if they'll be able to carry it over into 2017, but this is, I think, their best chance for success. Matt Fowler is an amazing running back, and I think he's going to do some good things. I also like the look of Oaklawn Jenkins at quarterback. I think he's going to be a real handful for teams to stop. So, with that, again, if you have any questions, any thoughts, concerns, things you want to hear from me, things you want me to talk about, hit me up on Facebook, Wyoming Football History on Facebook, also at Wyoming Football on Twitter. Tag me if you've got any questions. Sorry, I got distracted. Dal Erickson there in Afton was really shouting about a run. It looks like there's a big run there from one of the Star Valley running backs. I'm not totally sure, but Star Valley in control against UAB Utah, up 14-0 and driving. So, it looks like Evanston has scored a touchdown against Cheyenne South, bringing that score to Cheyenne South 14, Evanston 10. I am sure I will have an update. And there it is. Malik Wagstaff, 44-yard touchdown catch from Jesse Barker. So South up on Evanston 14-0. That game about 3:18 to go before that they go to halftime. Again, thanks to Jeremiah Junkie, my good friend there at WYO Sports and at the Wyoming Tribune Eagle there in Cheyenne with that update. Tell you what, it is time for me to take a little break. I'm going to put the stream on pause. We will be back in time for finals from the 4A games and third and fourth quarter updates from the 7 p.m. games. So we will see you shortly, and we'll be back as soon as I can be back. Let's put it that way. We'll see you shortly.